The next section, we go back 12 months for 1 year. Daily population of 512. See that number there. Down at the bottom, transfers to the state, the Department of Corrections. There's been an uptick to DOC. We had 30 in March and 29 in April, which is quite an increase. In March, commits 586, releases 594. We have, which is unusual, more releases than commits. That's happened before, but not too much. Process only by ADC staff and released by the magistrate, 63. And in April, 567 releases, 594 commits, and 78 process only by ADC staff. The Department of Corrections out of compliance. We have 16 inmates out of compliance. These are charged with felons, 3+ years of sentence. Over on page 12, the average daily population on the ADC complex for March was 481 for an average. High count of 496. And for the next page there, for April, average daily inmate population for April was 474 with a high count of 502 on April 18th. Page 14, of course, our history as we go back to 1982. FY 2022 system-wide 502, previous 10 months on this chart. All right, on page 15 are 6 objectives. Implement additional strategies to increase recruitment. One thing we are going to do is we're going to start advertising in surrounding states from here around Virginia and see if we can get some more people applying. We have vacancies, 78 vacant sworn staff. That's an increase by 11 since the last meeting, and 14 vacant civilian staff, for a total of 92. We're not the only ones. This is around the whole region and jurisdiction in the state and so forth. Prison Rape Elimination Act, nothing to report except that our next inspection will be April 23rd, 2023. We have them every 3 years, so the contractor will come in and go through all of our PREA compliance. Career development, we had 2 HR staff attended background investigation training. 3 staff completed crisis intervention training. We now have a total of 96 ADC staff that are trained in crisis intervention. 4 staff attended the Virginia Regional Jail Annual Conference, and 2 staff attended the Virginia Leadership Initiative hosted by the Virginia Association of Regional Jails and the American Jail Association. This is for 1 week training. It's an excellent leadership training for our supervisors. We've been utilizing that training there. Main facility repair project is over. We have Unit 11 and Unit 13 occupied. The new roof project still going on. That should be done by July, but the inside of the building is in pretty good shape now. Evidence-based decision-making policy team. Of course, we have our initiatives there, enhancing data process and expansion of Medicaid-assisted treatment. We're awaiting a grant for that from George Mason University. Currently, we have 20 inmates that are receiving Medicaid-assisted treatment, those who have been opioid addicted, and this medicine eases their urge to want to try to get opioids. COVID, we had an uptick in our staff numbers. We were down to 0 for several months, and now we're up to about 9. 1 staff quarantine, again 0 inmates with COVID. 202 inmates have been fully vaccinated. About 70% of the staff have been fully vaccinated also. Do you have a couple other comments?
I'm sorry, did you say 40%?
Pardon me?
What is the percentage of the staff being vaccinated?
Right around 70%.
70%.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Most people know that the Board of County Supervisors approved a 6% pay increase for the staff beginning FY23. Will go into effect on the next evaluation dates for sworn staff and civilians. Now their evaluation all done on November 1st. So everybody's looking forward to that. ADC staff donated $1,502.32 towards the 2020 legal food frenzy. The money amount equals 6,008 pounds of food for the community. So real proud of everybody that donated for that worthy cause. We did celebrate National Correctional Employee Week. It was organized by ADC Employee Association. We have an excellent association that assists with these kind of things. We had breakfast and lunch for the staff, Chick-fil-A, we ordered our meals, and that evening the cow showed up. So that was fun. 50-50 raffle, ice cream social, and so forth. So 10 jail officers graduated from the Basic Academy on April 6th. We continue to open up our inmate programs to include church services. And like we said, the modular building remains closed due to our vacancies. Last week, 4 inmates graduated with their GED for the first time since COVID hit, so we're starting to bring that back, which is good. And one last thing that's very important, update on the 2 officers that were injured. I sent that out to you all. Officer Marib, who had the more serious injuries, 2 breaks to his leg. It looks like he does not need surgery at this time, so hopefully he won't need it. He's still out recuperating. Officer Ducey, who suffered a shoulder injury, he's back to work on light duty, so it's good news for those guys. Inmate was charged with 2 felonies. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any questions for the superintendent on his report?
Yes, Superintendent, just one question. You mentioned that you're going to be advertising for the vacancies outside the Commonwealth.
Yes, sir.
Is that the first time that we've tried that?
Yes. Yeah.
I have a question. It's kind of an operations question. There has been some things brought to me in my role as public defender about defense attorneys having difficulty accessing clients on the weekends. And my understanding from what we've been hearing is that it's a staffing issue, that they're getting a contact visit, people will come in and they'll be told that they cannot have a visit with an inmate because of staffing shortages. Do we know, is there anything I can report back out?
They should be able to come in and visit regularly. If something's going on, Rob, you have anything you want?
No, this is the first time.
So yeah, and this has been the last week and a half. So I knew I was coming here. So I did not. And frankly, I didn't become aware that it was an actual issue and not a one-off thing, because that happens sometimes. Like I said, you get here.
Well, sometimes we could have a couple inmates in the hospital and 4 staff. They got to go out with them and so forth like that.
This has been like apparently after having collected the information like 5 times in about 10 years. In the last 2 weekends, I suppose is what that was. And different attorneys, so that's why it's 5 times. It's not one attorney that keeps coming back.
Okay, I will see what I can find out, because this is, like I said, the first time.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Superintendent, I have a question. We talked about this state compliance inspection that was postponed. Have they done that yet?
We got this. We had our inspection, and when we did our, end of the day talk with them, they pretty well told us that we were 100% We're supposed to we'll get the paperwork back from them, the certificate. We haven't gotten it back yet. Hopefully they were right about that. But
Yes, sir.
it was a 3-day inspection.
Right.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
About the incident of what happened. So, I mean, some part of me is like, how did it happen? And then, if there are any measures taken to prevent that to happen again, or is that often? I've never worked in a detention center.
It's not often.
It's not
It's
often.
not often. Well, what happened was the inmate was out in the day room and he was not going back in his cell when the 2 staff went in. He resisted. They started to use force. He resisted further. They ended up spraying him. The 3 of them slipped on the pepper spray on the floor. It was slippery and all went down and so forth and so on. So it does not happen often, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But, in a jail, sometimes force is used and we have to do those kind of things.
And then follow up, Mr. Chairman. So when you said that the inmate was charged with 2 additional felonies, so how that process works? So if he's paying for a crime for so long, so how it's like
Well,
administratively, how that happens?
If someone commits a crime in here and he was, wrestling
Already
around with the staff, fighting the staff and doing all those things, we call the county police to come in. They investigate. We don't charge them. The county police does.
And then,
They go to the magistrate. They get the warrant and so forth.
and is that administratively adds on to the current case? Is that a new case?
It's a new case.
It's a new case.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Just didn't know.
No problem.
Thank you.
If I can just add something.
Sure.
He has a charge of malicious wounding on law enforcement and a charge of assault and battery on law enforcement. Those charges are being prosecuted by our office,
Mhm.
and they are separate and distinct from whatever else he was in there before. I don't have a deep knowledge of the case, but I do know that he has those 2 charges.
Mhm.
And those are separate and distinct felonies, both carry mandatory minimums.
Yes, that's why.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tony.
Any other questions for the superintendent? Thank you. Ms. Deanna, budget
Yes, sir.
update.
On your handout here, the letter, the commissary budget remains at about 2.5 million. Nice healthy budget. We are presenting the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023 for commissary. The items, we did revise some of those items down. We did add a large item for gym flooring installation. We have we have some areas where it's all concrete and it's very difficult with the shoes that inmates have to try to exercise out there. So we're looking at something that is tamper-proof in addition to being a better surface for them to exercise on. That I'm not sure it will cost that much, but we just tried to have enough to see once we look at the different options that are available. In addition, we did add for the medication assisted treatment that the Colonel was speaking about. We added up $48,000. That is for the medication strictly that is provided to those inmates. And our inmate television infrastructure, so we can use the televisions to communicate with the inmates. That project has been on hold for quite some time because of COVID. We've had the vendor in now, so that is starting to move, but that is why there's no expenses recorded for that. We do have our usual for this year as far as acts and our substance abuse dorm. We have to usually remind them to send us their invoices, so we'll be doing that to make sure those get paid this year. So that's for the proposed 2023 budget. If anyone has any questions about those items.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
the medication-assisted treatment, the 48,000, is it to conduct the class,
No, this is strictly for the medication.
Oh, to buy medication.
Yes, to purchase
Oh.
the medication from our current current pharmacy vendor. And then we are, maybe Captain West can, we're partnering with, hoping to partner with George Mason on this. We're waiting on a grant. Can you add anything, Alan, or?
Sure, yes. So we partnered with George Mason University and they applied for a grant. The grant is going to give us the opportunity to give more inmates more services, more medication. They're going to use their doctor, so we get more doctor time, because with the medication, you have to give that like induction period to modify the medication from time to time. So that doctor, so that grant will pay for that services for that doctor to do that. Our mental health team will do some of the clinician piece in terms of the therapy part of it, and then our doctors that's on contract with us will maintain it from then on. So we think by asking for the extra funds that we want to increase the amount of inmates that can receive the, the medication and the services and treatment over a year period of time.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Deanna concerning budget?
Yes,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, budget related, on the reentry services, we changed contractors several months ago, yes?
Yes.
How is that going? I know we had almost a crash and burn with the previous contractor. How are we doing now?
Alan, you oversee GEO?
It's going wonderful, wonderful. The company has done great work. They come in and they teach about 17 classes a week. We've had staff to come in and kind of sit in and kind of monitor some of the classes. I have done it too. So they're teaching the 17 classes a week. They're doing the reentry services. They meet with guys that are getting out and kind of developing a case plan for them and what they need. They maintain clothing closets for us. I have sent them a referrals for people that want to donate clothing and things like that. Some churches that want to give some book bags and stuff, so they're getting all that together, provide all that stuff, maintain it. So we're happy with it so far.
Yeah.
If I can add also at the reentry program had a meet and greet out on the east end of the county for the families of folks that are leaving jail. And GEO was there and engaged in talking with families. And, there's a whole bunch of providers there, but GEO was one of them. And interestingly, both of the young ladies that showed up, they're native Spanish speakers. So they're providing, I think, substantial Spanish-speaking programming.
Yeah,
Yes, they are.
like Alan, I think they're going to do a great job here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Deanna? All right, moving right along. Next item on the agenda is election.
Peter, may we have approval of the budget for next year?
Is it included?
We usually just vote to approve the budget.
Oh, okay,
This budget
all right.
to make sure.
You want to talk about it first? Please go ahead and talk about it before we ask for a motion, okay?
She just,
Yeah, I
Kind of highlight it for us.
this first document here, the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is, the base of it is about the same, with the exception, we have reduced and shifted some items around due to, our count being different. We have to assess how this affects our program, so we're slowly doing it over time. Obviously, we didn't want to make any changes, because of COVID, now that things are a little bit farther along. So we've done that. The $350,000 for the gym flooring is what sets that budget up, but that is a one-time expense, as is the television infrastructure. So those items would bring the budget back down considerably the following year when those projects are complete. And as I mentioned before, the MAT medication is the other new item. I did remove juice machines. We are not really purchasing them right now, and they certainly can go as a miscellaneous expense. So.
Can I get a motion to approve the commissary budget for next fiscal year?
so moved. Second.
Any questions? I'll just make one comment. A lot of these items went to the board understands that this is not taxpayers' dollars. This is money that is generated from our commissary. Okay, all right? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is the election of jail board officers and appointment of jail board secretary. Can I get a motion for nominee for chairman?
I
Nominate Sheriff Hill as the chairman.
All right.
I'll second that nomination.
Can I get a motion to close the nomination for chairman?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. I'll just make one comment. It's been a pleasure serving as your chairman. I work with the superintendent. Try to visit him as often as I can to keep up to date with what's going on. And sometimes we have a lot to talk about, and sometimes we don't. But it's always good to come over and visit with the superintendent staff. Of course, I will mention about the graduation. I was honored to be the guest speaker, and I enjoyed meeting the new staff. So, and I will do my best to represent the jail board and the adult detention center whenever you need me to and it's possible. So, thank you. Next, I need
You need a vote. They closed the oath. Mr. Chairman, you need to have a
Who
vote.
hasn't been elected yet?
I haven't been elected yet. Yes. So I need a motion to approve the nomination. Yes.
Motion to approve the nomination.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any questions? Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Hey, congratulations.
Next, I need a motion for vice chairman. Well, I nominate Doug King. I've worked with him on a couple of issues, so I put Doug King's name. He's not here, but I'm gonna put his name in for vice chairman.
He's not here to decline it, so that's.
I'll second that nomination.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we have to vote on the nomination for Doug King to be our next vice chairman of the regional jail board.
I'll nominate him, or I'll vote. Where are we in Rogers?
I think you just all in favor. I think you just want to do that now.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Next, we have jail board secretary. Need a motion to appoint Ms. Hanley to be our secretary for the next year.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, sir, you are gainfully employed.
Yep.
Thank you.
Still, some more.
Thank you.
Another year of work.
Next, jail board comments. And I'll start with Chief. Chief?
Not really a jail board comment, just because we're in the middle of police week. We just want to recognize, first of all the law enforcement officers that are out there serving, putting their lives on the line for others, but also to remember our fallen and to remember the survivors during this week. If you take a moment to do that, it's much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Clemmer.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to congratulate the superintendent and all the staff on those 4 GED graduates. The GED is a pretty rigorous test, despite what folks might think. It includes things like trigonometry that I personally am not ready to sit down and answer questions about right now. So, congratulations to the inmates and to the teaching staff who worked with them. That is quite an accomplishment, and it's great that you're able to bring that back in addition to religious services and.
You know, before COVID, we were allowing family members to come into their graduation, and we'll start that up soon, hopefully. And we have a little thing for them, a little ceremony, and have some pizza and cake, and they enjoy it. Yeah, You know, if you can get it, you know, GED is hard, but in here, the distractions they have, you know, the level of noise sometimes, and also, you know, their cases they're worried about, they got court. It's amazing, you know, but they get through it. Yeah, I give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, I do too. Congratulations.
And the GED teachers are excellent. The Spanish teacher that we hired, she had left. I don't know why, but she did. So we're in the process of hiring another.
All right, thank you.
So,
Thank you. Reverend Bailey?
Yes, in line with Chief Newsom's comments, I just want to add, you know, my personal thank you to our public safety officers within Prince William-Manassas and Manassas Park. As retired military, it's become almost trite what people say, oh, you were in the military, thank you for your service. But it means something every time I hear that. And so I want to verbally say that to all of you who serve for our public safety. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Nothing tonight, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you for law enforcement service. You know, I'm glad to live in a county where I feel safe. Thank for all of those who contribute and for those who are embracing the diversity of this county. It's well appreciated as a person who is from the minorities, starting from the GED teachers, the reentry programs, you know, having a judge who speaks Spanish now, having law enforcement who can communicate with the community. It's thank you. Thank you on behalf of the community members who reside here in Prince William, Manassas City, and Manassas Park. And thank you all for your service and congratulations for a new term, Mr. Chairman. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you, ma'am. Can we expect the state budget?
So we're going to on June 1st
Okay.
for the budget. So hopefully you get your money on time. So we can continue to have the services. It will not look good that we will furlough state employees here. So June 1st is the date.
Thank you.
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Goskaleski?
Yes, the CA's office is hosting a Police Week coffee and baked treats get together in the corner of our office in our law library. We've converted that into a Police Week baked treats and coffee room. We also have an infestation of mice. Maybe I should have said that. But the traps are all where no one can get gotten, so there's no risk to any law enforcement or any of us, and we've killed 2 mice. And on a related note, you mentioned the jail closet?
Yes.
Yes. A member of our office who did most of his shopping in the 90s has put together a CA's office initiative to make a donation to the jail closet. There's nothing wrong with these clothes. They still fit. Some of the pants are pleated, some of the ties are wide. This person thinks they look fine, but as Ms. Lennox will tell you, prosecutors can be a cruel bunch. And the mockery that this person has received has become too much, and now a donation is going to be made to the jail closet. And this person actually put out an email to the office, so hopefully a large donation will be made for the reentering prisoners. Casual clothes and some dress clothes that might not be quite up to today's rigorous fashion standards.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
They often come back around.
They do.
well, I've been waiting.
Mr. Chairman, I take exception to the negative statement made about pleated pants.
I'm with you. That's all I have.
Yeah, thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Captain Laguna?
I don't have anything. Good evening, everyone. You know, they always tell you first meeting, keep your mouth shut, so you don't get thrown out.
Not here.
No, thank you for having me.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thank you. Any other comments?
No, sir.
Nothing for us tonight?
No, sir.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Very good.
Thank you. It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, especially when it doesn't connect. That's when it's a real.
We wouldn't do that.
How's your house doing down there?
My house is doing wonderfully, and my dock is being